Hello Year 5 and this is your English lesson. This is Miss Heakin speaking to you. So you will need a pen or a pencil, your home learning book or a paper to write on. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to get yourself ready and we will start. Okay, let's begin. So your writing task this week is to rewrite a traditional tale. Your story will be based on Little Red Riding Hood, a story I'm sure you all know really well. Each day you'll build up ideas ready to do an extended piece of writing on Friday. So if we look here at this text. The soft, wet leaves crunched beneath her feet as she moved quickly through the deep, dark forest. Suddenly, she heard a rustle from behind her. She froze. Little Red had been warned about how dangerous these woods were. She held her breath and waited a moment. She shook her head. Maybe she had just imagined it, but there was something about these tall, thin trees that gave her the creeps. The wind whistled through the bare branches. Snap! There was that sound again. Little Red scanned the area around her, and that was when she saw it. A brown figure hiding behind a tree, no more than 2 meters away. So, looking at that piece of writing, what features have I highlighted in red? Pause the video now and jot down some notes or discuss it with someone in your household. Okay, so what features do you think I've highlighted in red? Call out at the screen now. Okay, let's see if you are correct. So, today we are going to learn to use expanded noun phrases in our writing to engage the reader. Okay, so an expanded noun phrase adds description. It includes a determiner, an adjective, and a noun. So, just like we would at school, let's do it. My turn first and then your turn. My turn. An expanded noun phrase adds description. It includes a determiner, an adjective, a noun. Your turn. What does it add? And what does it include? Excellent. So, expanded noun phrase equals DAN, determiner, adjective, noun. So the determiner is used to introduce the noun. So we have a, the, three, or most. Adjectives, a word that describes a noun. Monstrous, vivid, delightful. And a noun, a person, object, or animal. So garage, Henry, leopard. So that's what you always need to include in an expanded noun phrase. Determiner, adjective, noun. My turn. Determiner, adjective, noun. Your turn. So, what is a determiner? A determiner is a word that introduces a noun. It identifies the noun in further detail. So, the determiner is a word that introduces a noun. So, that means it comes before the noun as it introduces the noun. When does it come? Excellent. What is a noun? Easy peasy. A noun is a word given to name a person, place, animal, or object. A word given to name a person, place, animal, or object. Your turn. Super. So, the wind. That would be, we have the determiner, the, and the noun is wind. So, determiner and noun is just a noun phrase. What is an adjective? I want you to write down what an adjective is on your piece of paper. Go, 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see if you were correct. An adjective modifies a noun or noun phrase. It describes. So an adjective just is a describing word. It describes a noun. Hopefully you were correct. So an expanded noun phrase is the bitter wind. The is the determiner, bitter is the adjective, wind is the noun, the bitter wind. So we can see clearly there, determiner, adjective, noun. So, as we know, expanded noun phrases contain a determiner, adjective, noun. This is a sentence without an expanded noun phrase. Liam climbed aboard the spaceship. A sentence with an expanded noun phrase. Liam climbed aboard the sleek metallic spaceship. It creates a picture of what the spaceship looks like. We can imagine in our heads that it's sleek and metallic rather than just the spaceship. It makes your writing more exciting and more engaging for the reader. So, Florida gazed up at the glittering stars. We need to know what the determiner, adjective, and noun is in that sentence to make our expanded noun phrase. So determiner is the, adjective is glittering, noun is stars. The expanded noun phrase is the glittering stars. So we can see clearly determiner, adjective, noun. The shiny red Porsche was parked in front of the window. So we need to identify the determiner, adjective, noun to make our expanded noun phrase. Let's see. The is our determiner. Shiny and red is our adjectives. And Porsche is our noun. The expanded noun phrase is the shiny red Porsche. Makes our writing more exciting. Instead of just the Porsche, we can imagine a shiny red Porsche. So, just like we would in class, I'd like you to write 1, 2, and 3 on your piece of paper and tick or cross. Which of these sentences include an expanded noun phrase? And for an extra challenge, how do you know? How can you explain that it does have an expanded noun phrase or it doesn't? Tick or cross, pause the video now. Okay, so our 3 sentences were, Dad trudged down 2 flights of stairs to the dingy basement. Liam was looking for a new thrill when he went to China. The man wanted to buy a car with his salary. Let's have a look and see if we're correct identifying our expanded noun phrases. So, number 1 was correct. We have the dingy basement. The is the determiner. Dingy is the adjective. Basement is the noun. Liam was looking for a new thrill when he went to China. No, there's no expanded noun phrase there. And the man wanted to buy a car with his salary. There's no expanded noun phrase there because I cannot see a determiner, adjective, noun pushed together like the dingy basement. Now, have I identified the expanded noun phrase correctly? So there might be an expanded noun phrase in the sentence, but if I haven't underlined it in the sentence, then it has to be a cross, just like we do in class. So again, write numbers 1, 2, and 3, and pause the video now to answer. Okay, let's have a look. A sharp chill passed through my body. Mum was searching through his small, smelly room to find clues about where he had gone. The rough stubble on Liam's chin had started to itch. So have I identified the expanded noun phrases? In number 1, a sharp chill passed through my body. Pass through my. Has that got a determiner, adjective, noun? No, it doesn't. Mum was searching through his small, smelly room to find clues about where he had gone. Where he had gone, determiner, adjective, noun? No. The rough stubble on Liam's chin had started to itch. The rough stubble, determiner. The rough, adjective, stubble is the noun. So give yourself a tick or a cross. So reminder, expanded noun phrase has a determiner, adjective, noun. My turn, determiner, adjective, noun. Your turn. So, what we are doing today is we are going to use expanded noun phrases in our writing to engage the reader. And the story we are retelling is Little Red Riding Hood. Now, I know, Year 5, that you know this story really well, but just to remind you, we're going to recap it and I'm going to read it to you. So, settle down, have your ears open and listen to the story. Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a sweet little girl. Everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood because she always wore a red riding hood. It had been given to her by her grandmother, who loved the little girl very much. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mother said, "Here, girl, take this basket to your grandmother. It's got bread, cheese, apples and berries in it. She's feeling sick, and I hope this will make her feel better. Don't talk to strangers, don't leave the path, and walk straight to your grandmother's house." Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother lived half an hour away in the woods outside the village. So, Little Red Riding Hood set off. The girl had just entered the woods when a wolf came out of the trees. She wasn't scared because she loved animals and didn't know wolves are dangerous. "Good day, Little Red Riding Hood," the wolf greeted her. "Good day, Mr. Wolf," the girl replied. "Where are you going?" he asked. "I'm going to visit my grandmother because she isn't feeling very well," Little Red Riding Hood replied. "What do you have in that basket?" asked the wolf. "I have some bread, cheese, apples and berries to take to Grandma," she replied. "Excellent. And where does your grandma live?" asked the wolf. And Little Red Riding Hood explained exactly where her grandmother lived. They walked together for a while. Then the wolf spoke again. "What lovely flowers there are here. Why don't you pick some for your grandma?" The girl looked around and saw all those beautiful flowers. She thought that her grandmother would be delighted to have some fresh flowers, and despite her mother's advice, she left the path. While Little Red Riding Hood went deeper into the woods to pick flowers, the wolf went straight to her grandmother's house. He knocked on the door and heard a voice say, "Who is it?" "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I've brought you bread, cheese, apples and berries," the wolf said, disguising his voice. "How lovely! Give the door a big push and come in. I don't have the strength to come and open it." The wolf entered the house, went to the old woman's bed and ate her as a whole. Then he put her nightgown on and slipped into the bed. When Little Red Riding Hood arrived at her grandmother's house, she noticed that the door was open. The girl went in and went to the bedroom. Usually she felt very happy at her grandma's, but that day something felt different. "Good morning," she said, but no one replied. Her grandmother looked strange. "Oh, Grandma, what big ears you have!" exclaimed Red Riding Hood. "That I can hear you better," the wolf replied in a fake voice. "Oh, Grandma, what big eyes you have," she continued. "That I can see you better," the wolf said. "Oh, Grandma, what big hands you have." "That I can grab you better," the wolf said. "Oh, Grandma, what a big mouth you have," exclaimed Red Riding Hood. "That I can eat you better," the wolf roared, jumped off the bed and ate the poor girl whole. With his stomach full, the wolf got back into Grandma's bed and fell asleep, snoring loudly. A huntsman who was passing by the house heard him and thought it was very strange for the old woman to snore so loudly. He looked inside and saw that it was the wolf who was snoring. The huntsman had been looking for the wolf for a long time. At long last, he had found him. The huntsman lifted his gun and was just about to shoot when he had a thought. Maybe the old woman was still alive inside his belly. So the man took a pair of scissors and cut open his belly. He saw a red hood popping out, and then Little Red Riding Hood jumped out. The huntsman cut a bit more, and the grandmother came out too. Little Red Riding Hood gathered some stones, and they filled the wolf's belly with them. When he woke up, he was scared and tried to run away, but the stones were so heavy that he fell dead. The three ate some cake, happy in the knowledge that the wolf was not going to be a danger any more. Little Red Riding Hood decided never to leave the path again, and to listen more carefully to what her mother had told her. The end. So, looking at these sentences, which sentence is more engaging for the reader? And for an extra challenge, how do you know? So the first one, she walked through the forest. The second one, she walked through the cold, eerie forest. Have a think. Pause the video now. So, which sentence is more engaging for the reader? Call out to me. Yep, you should have said number 2 because we've described the forest. It's not just the forest, it's the cold, eerie forest. So that's engaging us more, making us imagine what this forest is like. I would not want to walk into a cold, eerie forest. Now, let's have a look at these 2 passages. Which is more engaging for the reader? The forest was covered in a blanket of thick white snow. The gigantic trees cowered over her. Little Red Riding Hood began to trudge quickly through the silent woods. Suddenly, there was a chilling, loud howl. Or, the forest was covered in a blanket of white snow. The big trees cowered over her. Little Red Riding Hood began to walk through the woods. Suddenly, there was a loud howl. Pause the video, have a look at both passages, and decide which one you think is more engaging, more exciting for the reader. And think, why? How do I know this? Okay, tell me which one you picked. Call out now. Yep, should have been number 1 because if we look, number 1 has more expanded noun phrases, has more description. I can imagine I'm there. Okay, it has a blanket of thick white snow. Instead of just white snow, I can imagine thick white snow, so there's lots of snow. Instead of the big trees, the gigantic trees. We're year 5. I don't want to hear words like big and huge. I want to hear gigantic, enormous, colossal. Okay, instead of Little Red Riding Hood began to walk, she trudged quickly. So to trudge is when you're walking like through something that's quite tough. So snow, you'd be trudging through the silent woods. So it's adding more atmosphere. It's engaging the reader more. It's silent woods covered in snow. And suddenly there was a chilling loud howl. I'm there. I'm stood in the woods with Little Red Riding Hood. I can imagine how frightened I would be. It's engaged the reader. So, help me improve my writing. Have I included expanded noun phrases? And can you edit and refine my work? So let's have a look. Walking quickly through the snow, Little Red was happy at the thought of seeing her grandmother. The snow was falling and the woods were becoming dark. She began to speed up. She stopped. She was sure she saw a figure in the distance, but when she blinked, it had gone. So pause the video now and think, how could you edit this? Could you include more expanded noun phrases? Could you change some of the words? Pause the video now and have a think. Okay. So we have here, walking quickly through the dense snow, Little Red was joyful at the thought of seeing her grandmother. The bitterly cold snow was falling heavily and the dense woods were becoming dark. She began to speed up. She stopped. She was certain she saw a strange figure in the distance, but when she blinked, they had disappeared. So as you can see, I've changed certain words. Instead of just through the snow, the dense snow, meaning it's quite thick. Instead of happy, we are year 5, we can use thesaurus and up-level our work, joyful. The bitterly cold snow, I have my determiner, the, bitterly and cold, adjective, and my noun, snow. So I've got my expanded noun phrase in there. That the snow was falling heavily. Instead of she was sure, she was certain, and she saw a strange figure. So not just a figure, and this is a strange figure. It's engaging the reader more. And instead of it had gone, they had disappeared. So that is how we edit our writing. We include more adjectives, more expanded noun phrases. So, your turn. Your writing task today is to write the opening of the story. You are rewriting Little Red Riding Hood. So you need to set the scene. I want description. And your main character, Little Red. Make sure you use expanded noun phrases in your writing so the reader is entertained and engaged. Okay, so we are year 5. You are rewriting a traditional tale, Little Red Riding Hood. I do not want, Little Red Riding Hood woke up one day and she went to the forest. There was a wolf. Oh dear. No, you are year 5. I want description. Describe the cottage she lives in, the woods, how she was feeling. Include some speech in there. Make sure you get your expanded noun phrases. I do not want to see just the wood. Okay, the dark wood, the scary wood, the frightening wood. Get your determinate adjective nouns in there. Everything you're writing, describe. So, just to help you, if you need some help, you can use some of these sentences. The soft, wet leaves crunched beneath her feet as she moved quickly through the deep, dark forest. Suddenly she heard a rustle from behind her. She froze. Little Red had been warned about how dangerous these woods were. She held her breath and waited a moment. She shook her head. Maybe she had just imagined it, but there was something about these tall, thin trees that gave her the creeps. The wind whistled through the bare branches. Snap! There was that sound again. Little Red scanned the area around her, and that was when she saw it. A brown figure, hiding behind a tree, no more than 2 meters away. As you can see here, we have expanded noun phrases. The soft, wet leaves, the deep, dark forest, these tall, thin trees, the bare branches, a brown figure. That's what you need to be doing, weaving them into your writing to add more description and to engage the reader. So you can use this to help you for expanded noun phrases. You have your determinate adjective nouns. Remember, you're just writing the start of your story today. So introducing Little Red, and I would write up to her entering the woods. That would be my opening of the story. So her talking to her mum about Grandma being ill, what's in the basket, describing this cottage, describing Little Red Riding Hood, and her entering the woods. So you can start with describing the woods, but she has not met the wolf yet. This is just the opening of the story. Okay, well done, Year 5. I can't wait to hear what you've written.